So here we go. We're live with our first stream. We got Bret with us. Is it Measor? Is that how you say it?
I usually don't. I usually pronounce it Measor. Yeah, Measor.
Okay, nice.
But everyone's always pronounced it wrong my entire life. So I usually don't use my last name. I just go by my first name. So
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, people always get my name wrong.
Robert Grant?
No, they never get my name wrong. So thanks again for coming on, Bret. Yesterday was pretty hilarious. You know, we've been trying to do this live stream thing, and every other time we've done an episode, there's never been a hitch. And then the one time you do a live episode, your wife thinks that she's created a gas leak in the house, and you have to evacuate. So there you go.
It's better to safety, better to be safe than sorry, right?
Absolutely. No one died and no one was hurt. So I just thought it was pretty funny.
Your house is intact, so nothing exploded. So
yeah. Well, the way that she envisioned it was that, like like in the movies, and we fly from the concussion or whatever.
Someone's watched one too many Steven Seagal movies.
That's right. Who is your favorite 80s action star? Like, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's Sylvester Stallone.
That's a good question. Probably Arnold. Yeah, probably Arnold for sure. For sure. Because Conan was Conan was just mind blowing. When to be perfectly honest, when you saw that guy's physique, it changed my whole outlook on what to do with my own body.
Right.
It's I was a little kid, so I'm this scrawny little toothpick, and it's what? Oh, you can do that?
Yeah.
And so definitely Arnold for sure. He definitely was a big, I guess, influencer or role model in my early youth. And same with Bruce Lee. So probably those two. Yeah. Because I grew up on watching a lot of martial arts movies. So Bruce Lee was definitely on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was, although not 80s, but Jackie Chan.
Oh, yeah. I love Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
For sure. Rumble in the Bronx, when that came out here, that was another game changer for me of what's all this cinema all about, Right. And then I just started diving more into that world as well. So.
And that guy did his own stunts. Guy was a machine.
I know. I'm surprised that they allowed him to do that. Go ahead, jump off that building, man.
Yeah.
We'll make sure the cameras are rolling.
well, the thing too is that Hollywood. I don't know anything about Hollywood, but I imagine that Hollywood is so unionized, right?
Yeah.
And his films were not filmed in Hollywood; they were filmed, wherever they were filmed. I think Hong Kong or something like that.
Yeah.
So he was just able to do whatever. Whereas nowadays, it's no, you can't do that because if you injure yourself, we're gonna.
Yeah, I'm sure insurance is a big deal out here.
Yeah.
It's you're only insured for 10 million. Sorry.
Yeah.
We can't afford that. So.
Well, so have you been seeing any good shows lately with the whole, pandemic and all that?
Going to the movies and stuff?
Well, I guess everybody's watching stuff on.
Well, to be honest, in my area, the drive-ins are open right now.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
I've been just going to the drive-in. I've gone for the last 3 weeks, and I've just been going whenever they show old 80s movies. Because right now they have Tom and Jerry and Wonder Woman and Godzilla and stuff, and I'm I don't really want to watch that right now. But they've been showing the Goonies and Gremlins, Space Jam. So I've been showing up to watch those movies. Yeah, and I think this week is Uncle Buck and Happy Gilmore. So I was you know what, I might go see those.
They should have paired it Happy Gilmore, Caddyshack.
Oh, that'd be cool.
You know what I mean? Kind of similar movies.
I'd definitely go see that.
What's the other one that you're saying? Happy Jack?
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck, yeah. I've never even heard of that film.
Oh, it's a classic John Candy movie. You should watch it.
Yes, John Candy. Much respect. Yeah. We just finished watching WandaVision. I don't know if you've seen that show.
Yeah, I watched it. It was all right.
It was a trip.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Because I'm a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how it's sort of, I'm getting away from all the Hollywood Crash Bang Boom stuff, I
Mhm.
kind of, this is how pretentious I'm going to sound here, but I like it when it's sort of more philosophical,
Right.
and when it was talking about her grief and she created this world to sort of deal with her. Oh, I'm kind of spoiling it for everybody.
Spoiler alert, everyone.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry, I just ruined it. Damn. I caught myself too late. But anyways, the way that it deals with that, and not giving it away, because I think they reveal that kind of early on. But I always love stuff like that. Like, did you ever see the movie Manchester by the Sea?
I probably have it. I know of it for sure. I don't think I've watched it.
It's a kind of film you only ever see once, because it's like, Jesus, I don't feel great about that. But it was a wonderful film. Like, it was very human. It was very human. Whereas some of these superhero movies, it's like, I don't really see what what my connection is to this.
Yeah, I'm kind of bored of them, to be honest. They're just boring. They don't stick in my brain. Like, they don't stay there. They just go in the eyes and out wherever, into the ether. They don't register anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure if these movies came out when I was like in my teens, when I was really into comic books and stuff, I'd probably be gobbling it up, because I used to consume comic books that way and be like, oh, who would play this guy? And it's like, I would have been so invested. So I get where it is with people, like depending on their age range and stuff, or their investment into it. But for me, I'll watch it, I'll enjoy it, but I'll actually forget about it. And it's disposable media right now. So
wow, that is a great term for it, because music is so much like that. Like, so many of the songs that I hear, I'm like, Now I love Yacht Rock. Have you ever heard of Yacht Rock?
What would be classified as Yacht Rock?
I'll tell you right now. Okay,
I'm curious.
I'll send you some songs, but Hall & Oates, Yacht Rock, right? Like you're out of touch. Like, you just envision yourself, your hair flowing in the wind. You're on a yacht, and you're
nice.
like,
I have a nice little button down.
That's right. Yeah. The hairs are poking out. Yeah,
that'd be all right.
yeah. So Hall & Oates. Go ahead.
No, I can visualize what Yacht Rock would be, but also be good to drive in too, right?
Oh man, it's the best music. Look up Yacht Rock after, and
I'm going
on Spotify, and you'll thank me later.
I'll probably have a new playlist when I'm driving today. I'll just be driving around with Yacht Rock.
Yeah. Forget country music. When it's summertime, you're gonna want to put Yacht Rock on. Yeah. And another good example would be Phil Collins and Philip Bailey, Easy Lover.
Yeah.
Yacht Rock. This cheesy, high production value.
Yeah.
The original Yacht Rock song, though, I'd say, in my opinion, is Thunder Island by Jay Ferguson. Nobody knows that song. You play that at a party, banger. People will be like, what is this? It's like some obscure song, but it's unreal.
I could see your wedding playlist right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's another one. Sorry, last one. Christopher Cross. That guy is Yacht Rock.
I'm sure everyone who's listening.
Yeah, they're like, check it out. Yeah.
Sailing by Christopher
Cross. Sailing by Christopher Cross is one of the greatest songs of all time. I will go on a limb and say that. I mean, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On is definitely in the top 5. But Sailing, it's in the top 10, and it's not number 10. I'll tell you that much. I know it's a bold statement, but you hear that song and just like, wow, like it on every level, it can impact you. If for me, I picture it like a friend of mine recently passed away, and like before I listened to it, because it's like, oh, it's a good song, but now it's like, whoa, like it's kind of healing.
Yeah.
In a cheesy but like whatever way, like I don't know. I think it's good to tap into. I had a friend every time went through a breakup would play REM Everybody Hurts. And I'm like, are you okay, dude? And he's like, yep, I just need this. This is my guilty pleasure, and then I'll be all right. And he was. So what are you sipping, by the way? I got this
I'm drinking whiskey.
Jab of the Hutt.
I'm drinking Barefaced whiskey from this good old Canadian whiskey. So
nice.
It's been sitting in my trunk in my car for a while.
It's been aging.
Yeah. So I just thought, you know what? I should clean up my trunk and get the whiskey and booze out of there. So I did.
Least I get pulled over.
Well, you're allowed to have booze in your trunk. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's all right. So that's why I'm drinking. I have it on the rocks because I just wanted to drink it slow. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll drink it on the rocks. So what about you?
Yeah, no, this one is a life is too short to just be drinking Canadian and shit like that.
Mm.
This is Jabba the Hutt, a coffee milk stout.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. The last coffee milk stout I drank sucked.
Oh! Was that the one that you guys did the video of and it was like some no-name brand?
Yeah, Old Tomorrow is the brand. I feel bad because like they're a small startup company and like we just roasted their beer. So I do feel bad for that, but honestly make a better beer. So
yeah. Well, okay, tell us a little bit about that one that you did because it was a coffee stout, but it looked cheap.
It did. In the video. It was cheap. Like I bought it for like $3, we'll say, maybe $2.50. It was at the bottom of the LCBO rack. And I just saw it sitting there. I think there was only 2 cans. And I was like, I'm going to buy this and let's try it. And it was gross. Like it was black and thick and just tar-like. Like I wish I took pictures of Joe pouring it out at the end because you just saw this like black tar-ish mess.
Oh, molasses.
Yeah. It was just gross. Like I finished it, but I had to, I kind of have I just want to finish it. That's the way I look at it.
I'm like that too, man.
It's my duty, I bought it. I'm going to finish it. And then that way it could be like, I drank the whole thing. It was garbage. I'll never drink it again.
This is my money. I'm not throwing that down the drain. I've only ever had one beer so bad. Oh man, I wish you guys could review it. It was an imperial white Belgian like Christmas beer from Samuel Adams.
Okay.
And it was I honestly thought it ruined my vacation. I didn't think that was possible. It ruined I got sick from it. It tasted like shoelace. Oh. It was like like this coriander.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a full-bodied beer, and you're like, okay, all right. I mean, whoever writes these things knows what they're doing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, they know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah,
they got you.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, it's a bouquet of orange refreshment, and you're like,
as soon as they say bouquet,
yeah,
better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a sucker for life. But no. Anyways, this one it tasted like just the mandarin oranges when you leave them out for too long and they like suck. It tries to like contract into itself.
Yeah,
like the reverse of the Big Bang or whatever. I don't know. But it looked like they used those mandarin oranges and like somebody's fucking shoelace or something. Yeah. It was disgusting. Worst thing I've ever done.
Some kind of filter that's all shoelaces and they're just sifting it. They're gonna love this flavor. Just
it was bad, man. I mean, So tell us about your what you do with your friend, your buddy. What's your buddy's name again?
It's Joe.
Joe, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys do you have a separate handle and it's tell me what that is again.
Bearded Bros Beer Reviews.
Bearded Bros, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just all about beer and reviewing them and drinking them. So that's pretty much the whole idea. Like we've been kicking the idea around for a while where we were just like we'd always hang out I guess like really like when it's COVID, right? So we would just hang out. He's in my bubble, so we would just hang out and sit around and be like drinking beers on the street. And we were like, we should talk about these, or like, and we would just kick the idea around a little bit, just massage it. And then like eventually one day, I was talking about no name beer because I've never seen it. I've never seen it, and it's a thing here in Ontario. It's no name beer. It's yellow label. And it's a Doug Ford thing. It's like the buck of beer thing here, right? So I was like in the car going, I've never seen this beer. I've never seen a buck of beer. Does it even exist? And Joe was quite adamant that it existed. So we went around to the LCBO and looked for it, and we found it. And I was like, we have to drink this. So I bought it. Actually, he bought it. And then I was like, we should review this. It was just like a random thing. Like, let's just talk about it. Like, we'll review it. So we did. And I do all the editing on the videos as well. So it's my first time kind of editing in a different style. and it looked good. I liked it, and then we put it out, and people enjoyed it. Like we got really good feedback right away, which was surprising when you release something, right?
Right.
And just it was really good feedback. People liked the chemistry. People liked how it was funny and informative. And then we were like, hey, you want to do another one? So it just like snowballed into like, let's go buy some more beer, and then we'll drink it we usually try to do it on a nice sunny day so it looks nice. Right. And we pick locations around our city. So we actually do drive around and find spots to film in front of. And that's pretty much the whole thing. We try to just drink one and get out of there before the cops come or anything like that. Because like we are drinking on the streets. Like we're not, right. You're not supposed to do that, but we sneak it in as quick as we can. And that's why the reviews are like, we try to say what we can say really quick and get it done. So
I like it.
That was the whole idea. And we've just been like, we don't film every week or anything like that. It's kind of like on our own schedule. When we find a new beer, people have been suggesting beers now, which is crazy, which I think it's super. I just got someone tagging me. Like they posted on Instagram a beer and they tagged Bearded Bros saying, hey, you should drink this. And they want a review of it. And I'm like, this is cool. Like people want to hear our honest review. And they are honest reviews. No one's paying for this. Like right. No one's saying, hey, come review our beers.
Not yet though.
Yeah, but okay, maybe, but I just don't want them to be like, hey, review our beer in a positive manner. Because if the beer is crap, the beer is crap. I'm not gonna hide about that, you know? So that's been the whole idea, and we've been sticking to it. And sometimes the videos get crazier with ideas, and I enjoy those challenges because I like editing. So it's neat when we come up with an idea. We're like, well, how can we do this? How should we film this? So there's like little weird like filming challenges that we come up with now too. Like they're getting more grandiose. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, let's just keep it low key. Like let's go back to the basics of the alley. Let's just film in the alley like we used to. But like it's been fun though. So and like he enjoys it, and that's the main thing, right? Is like we both enjoy doing it. So it's not like a labor to me. It's like let's go have some fun. We'll drink a beer and I'll make something cool out of the content. And like go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that that's so important in our day and age is to do things for the pure joy of it.
Yes, I think so too. I think that's the most like one of the more important things. I think we do get caught up a lot in I'm going to do this to get fame out of it, or I'm going to get something back from it. Like there's always seems to be this like idea of a give or take. I'm going to do this so I can get this back, when really you should be doing the give and the take should be for yourself. It's like, I'm doing this for myself. That's it. That's all you really need. So there's always this idea of like, I guess it's a thing that's really pumped out there where it's like, you do the hustle for the thing that you're passionate about, you'll get paid for it. And it's like, well, why? Like eventually once you start getting paid for your passion, it's not a passion anymore. It's a job. And then it's not something you love anymore because now it's your 9-to-5 job. So like, why did you ruin your passion? You know,
that's a great point, man. I mean,
so
I think okay, for example, I love doing this, like just talking to people and sharing these conversations, because I do think that conversations, when they're done right, I'm getting something out of it, and maybe you are too, but unless I'm just like, well, Bret, this is the way that it is. This is how the government should work. It's like, well, okay, you just wasted that person's hour of their life shouting your beliefs at them. You know, whereas a real conversation, it's a back and forth. Oh, it looks like we have somebody on here too. Beautiful.
Do we? Cool.
I mean, we got some, because I didn't even advertise this. I was like, fuck, I jinxed it. So I'm just gonna it records it and then I'll post it after. So we got one person. Hello, how are you?
Welcome, one person.
Yeah. But going back to this is a joy, and I think that people need a little bit more joy in their lives. But also just real conversations, because you know what's going on in the world. It's like there's so much secrecy, but like with the internet, man, you can't hide nothing no more. You can't hide nothing.
Yeah, you can delete stuff, but you can't hide it.
Yes, and I've deleted things because I'm like, in 15 years, this could be misconstrued, and I could be shit.
I'm sure there's stuff out there of mine that is not good. From like, I've been a child though. Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
I'm an adult now. Like, I have different points of view than I did when I was a child. You know,
Yeah.
I've evolved, I've grown, I've aged, I've seen things. So my opinions on things should have changed as well. So I don't look at the past as something shameful. It should be looked back as like something I grew from. It's like, yeah, I had stupid ideas when I was a child. I wasn't educated, you know. I didn't live a life yet. Like, you have to live a life to actually start being able to form opinions, I think. So
Absolutely. Well, here's the other thing too, just to, to your point.
Mhm.
But we also think about the society that was around us when we did what we did.
Mhm.
For
it was totally
example,
different.
and I don't agree with this because this is stupid, but people who
Mhm.
did blackface, right?
Yeah.
They did blackface, and because everybody else is doing it, so it must be right. But we people who did that, they really didn't have an awareness of how
Mhm.
offensive that was, right? Like
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau dressing up as a genie.
Mhm.
Like now we know that that's so offensive.
Mhm. Yeah.
But back then, everybody was doing it. And then they bring things back. Oh, we got
Mhm.
somebody else here. Hello. And we bring things back. And then it's like, oh, shame on you. And it's like, well, come on, man. Like that
Mhm.
happened then. The thing that I firmly stand for, obviously, is anybody who, the whole Me Too thing,
Mhm.
right? Like if you've been a predator in the past, I don't care how long after,
Mhm.
you a violation of human rights. There's no timestamp on that, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, it's like, I guess, because like even with all of that, like the stuff that we did in the past, like we should be able to learn from it and then grow from it. There are things that, yeah, like a predator is a predator. You know, we got to take that out. And like, I don't know what a predator would learn from their predatory. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for someone who's seen the effects of blackface and then said, hey, you know what, we shouldn't do that anymore. Like that makes 100% good sense to me. You know, I've seen it. Like, I remember I was in university and blackface was still a thing. That's not even that far ago. That's like 20 years ago, I would say. Especially right around when Chappelle came out, Dave Chappelle came out with the Rick James skit. I'll tell you this. I remember this specifically being at the student residence in St. Catharines, so Brock University. I was a student there for a bit. And Rick James just came out, that whole skit. Everyone's loving it. And I remember Halloween, a bunch of white dudes dressed up as Rick James, but like the Dave Chappelle version of Rick James. So they were doing blackface too and going around saying, I'm Rick James, bitch. And I remember being there in that instance. I was sitting in the hallway, the foyer with my girlfriend at the time. And I'm just like, I just remember looking at her going, are you seeing this? Like, this is wild. Like, I cannot believe this is actually happening right now. And people are cool with it. Cause like, even then it was still like, we shouldn't be doing this, you know, like you're actively outside and it's a Halloween costume. It's like, what's going on here?
And this is circa 2004, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
And that's not even that far ago.
Yeah.
That's 16 years ago.
I was 14. I was 14 when that happened. It sounds like, you're 19-ish, but that's pretty good insight that you have. That you had. Have you always kind of been a little bit more, I guess you could say, deep thinking in that? Like, because so many people, we just kind of live our lives inconsequentially. Or, excuse me, I'll speak for myself. I have lived my life inconsequentially.
Right.
Only to, because especially when you add tons of booze and, tons of liquor in there. But anyways.
So for me personally, I grew up in a very like white collar, blue collar family. To be honest, it was like full of booze and drugs, very abusive lifestyle in a way. But like in my house, like I'm part native and part English, so white, right? So I've already had this like duality of race in my life. So I would say growing up though, I was able to hang out with all the different communities in my school and stuff like that because I just was different. I was a different color than most, you know, so I was able to like swerve through all the other ethnic groups and stuff and get to know them and just like hang out and be like, okay, this is what life is. Like I was a dork. I was a big nerd, but also I was like trying to be a gangster at the same time. So I was like this weird dorky gangster out there trying to exist, right? Like you don't know what you are when you're 14, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So
You know. Oh, sorry. No. Finish.
no,
Finish.
so I was just gonna say, like, so growing up, right, we put a lot of masks on to try and figure out who we are. And over time, I got to a point where I was like, I need to start getting rid of these. This isn't me. I remember having a realization, not like super, super young or anything like that, but just like probably in my like early 20s, going, hey, this isn't me. Like, I don't like this. Like, I'm not this person. I'm not this gangster. I'm not like, I am a dork. I want to start embracing these other things that are me, that I've been like hiding away behind these masks. So I remember like telling my friends at the time about that. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they kind of looked at me like I was an idiot. Like, who are you? Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, that was like my first realization of like, wait, this isn't right. Like, I'm not me. That was kind of how I was looking at it.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this transformative moment that you had? Like, what was it? Was it like that? Like, was it just this like a big aha moment, or was it a gradual kind of like questioning of these masks?
I would say for my entire life, it's been like certain key things have happened that have opened up the next level to a new me. It's been a very gradual process, but I knew early in my 20s, like that this was wrong. Like there was things that were I was going down a weird path, right? Like there was alcohol, lots of alcohol. I guess at that time I was dating a stripper. I wasn't into heavy drugs or anything like that. That drugs were never like my thing, but booze was my thing. So I was just going like down this pathway, and then eventually, like I was single, like I broke up with the stripper, and then I kind of just sat there. That was like I think my first moment in time where I just sat still for a bit and been like, what do I want in life? Like I'm doing construction work. I'm not actually. I didn't really have like any clear path in life. But at that point, I was just like, what do I want? What am I doing? And I think at that point too, I was kind of like, well, I think I want a proper girlfriend. Like I was just thinking in this like weird frame of mind where it's like, yeah, what, I want a proper girlfriend. I don't want to be with strippers. Not saying that strippers are not proper girlfriends, but we're talking back like early 2000s. In my mind, I was a little kid. I was 21 probably. I was still a kid. The way I look at it, when I say 21, I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a kid. Yeah.
I'm 21. That's still.
I was a kid till I was 26, man.
Yeah, for real. I was probably a kid till I was like 30.
I was a kid till I had a kid. You know what? I'll say this: I was a kid until I had a kid.
Oh yeah,
but that's just my story. That's
a game changer.
Oh hell yeah.
So I think that's kind of where like my very first one was, and then I started really opening up to my friends at that time, like my close knit group of friends. That's when I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start saying stuff and trying to figure out being me. And if my friends like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. And I kind of started this whole like, I don't give a fuck attitude was starting to develop. Like, who cares? None of this is that important right now. Like, I'm trying to figure out all these ideas, And so then I did find a girlfriend, a really good girl at that time. I was with her for a while, but like finding her kind of started to align a lot of like new things in my life, like managing money, looking after my finances, actually going to university. Like she kind of motivated me to do these other things that normally I was like, nah, I don't want nothing to do with that. So it was like a kind of like a first aha moment of like, hey, we can actually change our life, and strive for something different. And it was a lot. I do owe her a lot of that, like gratitude towards that, where she kind of started putting me on the right path for sure. Because I even saw like normal families, you know what I'm saying? Like my family, like my family's cool and all, but they also were alcoholics and drug users. So like I was always looked after. Let's not get it twisted, clothing, food, shelter. I was looked after. I passed. I completed high school. Like I didn't have like a really horrible life, but it was still dark. Right. But yeah, it was just like I got to see some other things in life, and I was like, I want that. Like I want that. Yeah. So that was like the first moment, and then I just been kind of chipping away at it for my whole life until Like even now, I still work on it. Obviously, you're always working on yourself, but that's just like one nugget in the grand scheme of things. Like there's like so many other things that have happened in my life where I'm like chipping away, you know?
What, this is going to sound extreme, but like trauma and ACEs, they call them adverse childhood experiences. I wouldn't wish trauma or hardship on anybody, but for me, the hardship that I've experienced, although I would say pretty intense for myself, it makes you who you are.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
for sure, I do believe in that.
I can cry now. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when I was a kid growing up, and we talked about superhero movies, this is a weird fact about me, but my favorite superhero film was The Punisher, the 2004 one with Tom Jane.
Yeah,
I love that movie. I saw it way too many times that it probably affected my brain. But anyways, that movie came out right before my dad passed away, and in that film, his whole family gets killed. So not even any way, shape, or form comparable to my pain.
Yeah.
But how he dealt with it, this extreme stoicism. I don't know if you recall the film, but that's how I thought as a man, I got to bring the quotes in here, like a T-Rex. As a man, that's how I think you're supposed to deal with traumas. You just keep it in, and it's like nothing affects me until you snap, right? Because you can only, they talk about, the metaphors of the glass all the time. And some people say you got to keep the glass empty. And other people say never let it overflow or keep it full or whatever. Anyways, my glass, the more things happen, it just filled up and filled up.
Right.
And we need to remember, like, we are animals. Like we're not these weird godlike creatures. We're animals. And like any animal, you put enough stress on it in its environment and it goes into fight or flight response, right? Like a gazelle. If it sees a lion, it's like, shit, I got to run. And we live like that. But stress is the lion. Stress is the lion. And that's what puts us in these high anxious states. And that's why it's good you've nailed it. Do things for the sake of doing them, not for getting rich, not for getting publicity, not for getting fame, but do it because you love it. Find what you love,
To be honest, like that took me, I guess, how old am I? I'm 41. So I figured that out when I was 40.
You look great. You look great for 41.
Well, thank you. I just figured out that rule of life now. That's how crazy it is. It took me that long to figure it out through trial and error, but eventually you get there, where it's like, cause like we could fast forward to like say 2008, I finished video game school. Like I went to my career. I wanted to become a game designer. That was like one of my big drives in life. I always wanted to make games. So I did that. I actually went to video game school, finished, passed all that jazz, right? And then I couldn't get work, so I started my own company. And it worked. Like I worked my butt off to do it. But at the same time, I sacrificed all my relationships for business. And I wasn't thinking about the relationships as much as the business. Like my focus was, I got to do this business. I got to succeed. This is like my passion. I don't want to fail at this. I'm all in. And like at that time too, I was listening to a lot of hustle this, hustle that, like
Tony Robbins.
Yeah, Tony Robbins.
Fuck that guy, man. Fuck that guy.
Who else? E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher was someone I listened to a lot. And even like rap music, I changed the music that I listened to focus on this concept of hustling. Like 4 hours of sleep, keep hustling. Like that's what The Rock does. That's what Oprah does. I was like,
it's horrible.
Yeah, but I didn't care. To be honest, I didn't think about that stuff. I wasn't thinking about my body at the time. I was getting fatter. I've ballooned up because of it for sure, because I wasn't thinking about that life. That lifestyle in a sense. I was like, nope, this is my lifestyle. This is the train I'm on. So like, I just stayed focused on that for a long time. I tried to grow the company and I just lived in that bubble of my company, but I still thought I was doing enough for my friends and I wasn't. And in hindsight, like, look, I can go back and say I was there for my friends physically. My body was there, but mentally I was not there for them. I wasn't there for the moments. I wasn't there for the conversations. Like they were talking to me, but it wasn't staying in here. was going in one ear and being shoveled to the left while I was focusing on my business inside my brain, you know? So thinking about it like now, like after so many years, it's like, yeah, I totally get where they come from. Like in 2013, I decided to stop the cup. So like, here's the point. Like I worked all this time. I'm working. I got to a spot where I was like, the company's not going anywhere. I didn't feel like a forward momentum anymore. I kind of felt like I was stuck in a spot. And then at this point in time, my dad had a stroke, 2 strokes. And I think he also got diagnosed with cancer at that. No, or cancer was after, something like that. And at that time too, I shut the company down. My dad had a stroke. I got a new job to move to Ottawa. Oh, this all happened within like a week. And like, I'm moving to Ottawa at the end of the month kind of thing. I closed the company down. I'm telling my friends, hey, I'm leaving. I'm moving to Ottawa. Like a big shift just happened because I said, I don't want to run this company anymore. I don't want to live this life. I want to see if I can work in the industry now. So a whole bunch of things just started changing and I left, right? I went to Ottawa, I packed my stuff and then moved. Got a nice little apartment. My girlfriend, she stayed in Hamilton. So we long distance relationship. And I remember calling my friends. These are my best friends that I've known since I was 5. And I was just like, hey, I think I said something along the lines of like, hey, I'm here. I can actually focus on this now. Like, I think I said that out loud. Like, I'm done with running the business. I can be here. I can be with you as a friend or something along the lines of that. Right. I said something and I just remember them. Yeah. I just remember all of them turning their back on me. They're like, we don't want you. Like they were done.
Actually?
Yeah, 100%. They all got angry at me and there was a big fight. We had a big falling out. It was like, they had enough, you know? And I was just like, it's kind of like too little too late. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like you guys are right to be mad at me and disown me and not be my friend and all that. Cause we've gone through a lot of stuff. Like there's stuff in there that I'm not even mentioning, like we've had our ups and downs and stuff. And so yeah, they left me. So I was pretty much in Ottawa alone, 100% alone. And with my thoughts, just sitting there. And like no one to fall back on. My dad's busy; he's sick. My mom's doing her thing. My sister's doing her thing. Everyone's away. My girlfriend's doing her thing. Like I'm alone. It was pretty interesting. So I just kind of like just sat there, in silence, going like, "Now what? What am I doing now?" So I just was like, "Okay, all I know is work. So let's dive in. Let's focus on work." And then I started this cycle of. Pretty much the cycle of how I've always explained it to people is like I got into this cycle of work, sleep, not even like it's like work, porno, food, sleep, watch movies, go to sleep. I was playing like what game was I playing at the time? Oh, I can't remember. The Warcraft card game, Hearthstone. So like playing Hearthstone at night.
Just a time thief.
Yeah, and I'm just that was my cycle. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm getting really fat. I was like 450, maybe 4 plus, like maybe even bigger than 450. The biggest I remember was definitely 450 because that's how the scale worked. I remember being, so 2 things happened when I was working in Ottawa. I remember sitting at my desk. This is real, 100% real. I was sitting at my desk, just leaning back and I'm done my work and I'm just sitting there alone in my thoughts. And I remember just sitting there going, I did it. This is it. Like I achieved my goal. Now what? Like, I did it. I got to work in the industry. I got to work in the video game industry. And I'm sitting there just looking around at everybody going, now what? I did it. I'm like, I don't even know how old I was at that time. Like 2013, 2014. So I can't remember how old I was. Maybe say 28, I guess. And I was just sitting there, maybe a little younger. I can't remember. But I just remember sitting there thinking about that, going, well, now what? What's the next goal? Because like my whole life has been this goal to get to video games. Right. And I sacrificed everything. I looked at it like all the friends I lost because of this. And I got to this point. Now I'm sitting here alone going, I made it. So what's next? Right. And I had no answer. Honestly, that day was the end for probably video games for me because I had no answer. I didn't want to go any higher. I didn't want to go up to be the CEO or I didn't want to be a CEO again. I've already did that. And I didn't want to be a leader of all these other positions that I could go and do. I just didn't want it. I was like, I'm here. There's no goal anymore. The goal is gone. So now you're just existing in this void of no goals, right? So I just remember sitting, just working. And eventually I got tired of being fat. And that didn't exist. That didn't last long, to be perfectly honest.
Now, sorry to interject. When you made it to this destination, because what you're describing is you made it to the destination, and I've done this in my life. I was so focused on that end point that I missed the whole journey there. You know, and that causes a lot of dread because you're like, shit, I wasted so much time to get here. Now, when you made it to your destination, were you happy that you were at that point that you were fighting to get to?
I think, I was definitely happy. I was like, you know, it probably wasn't true happiness. Probably not true happiness. It's probably like corporate happiness, or that you know, the life that you've been sold the whole time, right? Like you made it. That's like the thing that you've been sold your whole life. You know, you go to school, get that next level school. Now you get that big job. You're not working in Toronto, but I'm working in Ottawa. That's a big deal, you know, like that's a big deal. And then I've gone from literally, you know, $12 an hour to 6 figures, right? Hello, I made it. You know what I'm saying? Like I am happy in that sense, but inside I wasn't happy. There's no way I was. Like I was hiding the happiness with booze, food, the money, living the life. Mask. A new mask came on probably, you know, and just being like, this is my life now, you know? It's pretty much like it was a horrible life, really. It was just full of fakeness, really. Really. It's just you just exist. Yeah. It's like almost, it's not even a life of excess, because like I wasn't even having any sex. Like it was just like a boring life of booze, food, sexless life, like nothing. Like it was just living in my little house, my little apartment, right? I had my cat, and that's it. It was like, this is what I worked for. This is like, they show you the picture. This is the house, everything you're going to get when you get there. But then when you actually get there as a broken man, you're just kind of like, well, what did I do? What do I got to show? And if you saw my apartment at that point in time, I'll literally tell you, my apartment literally had nothing in it. It had a desk, a bed, all my stuff that I ever owned boxed away, and that was it. That was it. I had a little TV for my video games. The most empty of room. Like if you saw that, you'd be like, this guy's definitely broken. Like he's damaged. This guy's crazy. Like how do you do this? You know, I'm making 6 figures, but like also I'm in debt up to my ass, right? Like, you know, like everything. So it's like this whole thing that you were sold on, you get there and it's just like, okay, well, yeah, I'm happy that I made it. I did the things that I said I was going to do in life, but you can sit back and reflect in the silence going, well, what the hell did I sell to get here? You know, my
soul.
But, yeah, pretty much my body. That's how I looked at it. It was like, I sold my body and my friends to get to this point. Cause like, here I am, this big, like 475 plus guy. Right.
Yeah. And this is 2013, you're saying?
Yeah. 2013 roughly.
Okay. All right. And then what happens? So you're at this sort of the zenith, if you will, this existential zenith when you're like,
there's 2 existential zeniths, dude. I got 2. There's actually 3. There's actually 3.
Tell us.
The more that I think about it, there's probably a couple in there. Like, so then like, okay, I'm in this point and I'm working and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to work, see how it goes. And I'm just working, I'm making friends and stuff like that. Ottawa would be the point where I actually first start going outside and walking. This is actually, so this is kind of where the inkling of Bret goes outside kind of probably starts, is in Ottawa. So, because I remember my friend Ryan, he was a 3D artist at the time where I worked. And I remember on the weekends, I would just message him and be like, hey, do you want to go for a walk? And our walk was literally around Parliament and up the Rideau Canal. So it was a pretty good, like,
beautiful
walk. And we would do that every weekend, and we would just go and we would just talk. And that's kind of where the whole idea of like walking and talking and like getting ideas out of our heads and like, you know, just like letting go of these thoughts and like becoming more open to things, right? And we're just having great conversations. I don't even know. To be honest, I couldn't even tell you what we talked about. Just shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, verbal diarrhea. But that was the start of it. And Like he would park his car at the grocery store, so we would do the walk, and then I'd go to the grocery store and get some good food. And that's kind of started the whole like. I started kind of being like, oh, maybe I could do something different here. It kind of just started sparking this idea to live different. Like let's not waste our paycheck on pizza as a reward or these other things, right? Like let's start thinking different. So eventually though, what happened was he got let go. There was like a mass firing at my place. So a good chunk of people got let go. So I was only there for borrowed time now before this shut down. So now I'm looking for a new job to get out of there. So things started to change, but like the inkling of getting outside was there, right? That's where it started, is really Ottawa. Now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, that was Ottawa was the place. I started doing all my walking and getting into just going outside. And it was literally just walking around the streets. No forests or anything crazy like that. It's just, let's just go for a walk and talk, So then I lost that job and I moved back home to Hamilton, and I got a new job in Hamilton. And this is kind of where I started not caring about video games anymore, period. I was just caring about getting hired to do the job, and I wasn't caring about the games anymore. Like I just didn't care. I was done.
Right.
Like, I was starting to actually get checked out of the life goal that I made for myself slowly. So I went and worked in Hamilton, and this is where the first the next big aha moment happened. I lost my job in Hamilton. So I worked in Hamilton for a year, lost my job, and I went on EI. And I thought to myself, hey, you know what? I've worked 8 years straight with no vacation. I'm going to take EI and I'm just going to do nothing, And I did that. I literally just kept taking in the EI as much as I could. And I just sat around and did nothing, like just relaxed. I just kind of like, just did stuff, just walked around and did stuff. Nothing important, really. It was just time off. I did nothing important. Like I was back home with my girlfriend. So she's been my girlfriend for a very long time at this point.
You guys are still together?
Nope, we are not.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead here. Yeah.
That's coming up. So, I was just getting back into being home, and I remember sitting there going, and this is a thing that always happens in my life. I remember sitting there going, what's next? Like, what do I want to do now? Because I remember it was like, I think I only had like 3 or 4, maybe 5 months left of EI. And I was just like, what do I do now? Like, what are we doing, man? Like, what's the plan? Should we go and like look for another job and become a video game guy? Or should we do something totally different? And it's like, I remember sitting there in my room, my apartment. This is weird because I actually spent money and I put all my, I bought shelves. I haven't owned shelves in forever, right? So I bought shelves and I started putting all my knickknacks and stuff out there. I have a big video game collection, lots of statues and stuff like that, nerd stuff, the typical, if you saw it, you'd be like, this guy's a dork, right? So
I'd probably love it because I'm a huge dork.
Yeah, all my swords.
You see my bookshelf? Look at all these books that I'll never read. Anyways, yeah.
So like I had everything decked out, and I remember just sitting there. I'm getting to the point where I'm down to like maybe I only have so many months left of EI, and I'm at rock bottom. I have no money. I have $0, by the way. I'm only on EI. There's no I might have had maybe $2,000 saved away just in case, right? Tucked away in Tangerine. You know what I'm saying? Just sitting there in my TSFA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember just sitting there, and I remember sitting there just looking around my room and looking at all my stuff. And I was just staring at it all and going, none of this stuff is helping me. Like, that's all I remember saying to myself.
Materialism.
Like, why did I buy all this? It cannot help me right now. And because I have no money. I'm losing. I'm almost done, right? Like, nothing here can save me. And I'm just looking at it going, why did I buy all this stuff? Like, what was the point of it? Like, was it to be cool? Was it to lure, like, I guess not the greatest term, is to lure women in? Like, is this my nest? You know what I'm saying? Like how birds make a nest.
What is the meaning of this?
Yeah.
Am I getting any enjoyment?
Yeah, it did nothing. It didn't I didn't even look at it as like, if people saw this on the wall, would they say that identifies to me? Like, oh, to be a dork, you have to have dork stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, I'm a dork just by you knowing me. You know I'm a dork. Like, like come on.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't need the imagery to go with this. Like I don't need these materialistic things to go and be a part of me. That no one cares if I have a sword on the wall. They don't identify that sword.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that Legend of
You're
Zelda
part of the
sword.
club now. You're part of the club. You have the sword. Yeah.
Yeah, but realistically, when you're out chilling on the streets and you see that sword, you don't think of Bret. You think of Zelda. You know what I'm saying? It has no identity. There's nothing about that you can identify me with it. You know what I'm saying? But now, like if you look at today, if someone were to go outside and they like go to a trail, they'd be like, "Hey, you know what? I remember Bret talking about this." You know, like there's a different association with things now that are more from the heart, from a real place of purpose instead of the manufactured fakeness, right? So, anyways, I'm sitting there with all this stuff, right? And I go, what can I do to like? I made a list. I make a lot of lists in my life. When it's time for change, I make lists of what's the next thing I want, like to pursue. Like, what do I need in my life? Yeah. So I wrote down adventure. I want to see just new places, new things, like meet new people was on the list, and travel. Like, so it's just like this whole idea of like what can I find as a job or a profession that allows me to do these things, right? That was the thing. And then I remember I was watching like Eddie Murphy Delirious, right? And I'm watching stand-up comedy, and I go, you know what? Those guys travel around. So that's like, I started thinking like, you know what? I'm going to do comedy. I'm going to become a stand-up comedian for real. And I did. I am one actually. And
awesome.
And so I started down this path of becoming a stand-up comic. And I told my girlfriend, I remember telling her, I'm like, hey, guess what? This is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to become a stand-up comedian. And she literally said to me, I would never have dreamed you of saying that in my entire life. You know, like no belief in what I could do, period. So, and I said, well, I'm going to do it. And I actually, I'm not going to go into that, but to be perfectly honest, comedy started really shaping a lot of me, as crazy as this sounds, because there's a lot to it.
Good comedy is very philosophical. Like Jerry Seinfeld, thousands of years from now, you know how we know Socrates and Aristotle and all these people? They're going to remember Jerry Seinfeld based on the crazy shit that he said. Because that's really, true. He is like a philosopher. Good comedians are really good philosophers.
Yeah. So like I'm like, I'm going to do this. So I started going down this path. And also my money is going to zero, right? So I'm starting to do comedy and stuff, and I'm getting into it. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hooked. I'm really hooked on this. I'm like, I love doing this. I'm going to keep doing it and pursuing it, but I don't know how I'm going to facilitate it, right? So I'm like, I need a job. So you know what I did? Simple thing. Went back to the video game industry because comedy is not going to pay me. So I just went back to the video game industry, got a new job. I moved to London, Ontario. And at this point too, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I got the job literally with 2 weeks left to spare of money. Like I had to borrow money. I had to borrow rent money off my girlfriend for first and last. I just got on welfare. Welfare in Ontario. Hamilton, Ontario, that's where I'm from. Hamilton is only $700 a month. That's it.
Yeah.
And I remember
we live in an expensive country.
Yes. And I remember sitting in the welfare office, right? And I remember sitting across from the guy, you know, he's in his suit and tux, and I'm in this t-shirt. I'm just chilling, right? And he's definitely looking down on me. And I'm like, dude, I used to make six figures. Like, calm down. Like, when there's this like weird like level of like societal level, right?
Castigation. There's a castigation right there.
Yeah.
He's signing this off, right? He's in a position of power.
And he's like looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, what? So he's going through the paperwork, and he's like, so what did you do for, like, what did you do? I'm like, I'm a video game designer. And he just like stared at me like, how are you here? Like, why are you here?
Right.
And I'm like, hey, dude, life's tough. Like, just give me the money. I need to do what I need to do with it. And then I remember him saying, he's like, how much is your apartment right now? He's like, I'm like $1,000 a month. Right. And he goes, oh, you're going to need a smaller apartment, like a cheaper apartment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, it's $700. Like, let me figure it out. But at the same time, it's like $700. That's all these people are getting. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's a harsh reality. Like, I've been on the system now going, how do these people that need this money, like the people that need this money, that's only $700.
How do they survive?
How do you do this? And I couldn't do it. I'll be honest, I couldn't do it. I had to
Makes
leave.
you
I had to go
understand
get.
why it makes you understand why people commit, crimes like felonies
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Right?
Hey, people out there
People don't
stealing,
do that
committing
because
crimes.
they're evil. Do you know what I mean? Like, you
Oh
piece of
no,
shit. They do it because they're like, holy shit, I gotta survive.
yeah. If
Yeah.
people actually understood how much they made off of off of welfare,
Yeah.
you would understand why there's theft and crime,
Yeah.
and the people are not being looked after. That's for sure. So, and that was even like 2015. We'll say like they're still not making that much money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was on the welfare, and then I actually got a new job in London, Ontario. So everything just like worked out. It was like I got welfare, got the new job, and then I'm moving to London, borrowing money off my girlfriend to pay for rent, and like I had just a couple of dollars. Like I lied to them saying I didn't have any money because I had a couple dollars for groceries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to cheat the system too. I'm like, hey, yeah, I do need new clothes, so I can get a little bump on the fucking welfare. So I got it. I moved to London, and I start working, and I hit I felt like I was in a good studio. I felt like I was there to work. Like I felt like I was like, okay, I got life together. No, I didn't. Had nothing together.
Yeah.
I'm working again to go back to like I'm there. My body is there. My body is there. I'm working. My spirit is not. My soul is not in it at all. Period. I'm just there to collecting a paycheck, going through the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Just the repetitions. And my boss knew it because he found out that I was a comedian, and I was just practicing comedy. I wouldn't even call myself a comedian at that time, and still don't really. Like I'm just practicing the art form, and
having fun.
Yeah, having fun, And he came and saw me perform. He was like, "You're really funny," and I was like, "That's cool, man. Thanks for coming." But what happened is, as I worked there, I started really verging off to comedy. Like work was not a priority anymore.
Yeah.
Work was getting done, though. Let's not get twisted. Work was always done. Work was always done on time, but I didn't care. I just did not care.
Your heart wasn't there.
Yeah, my heart wasn't there. My no fucks given attitude was definitely brewing, where I just don't give a fuck.
And evident, probably, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think, personally, I don't think I portrayed I don't give a fuck attitude, but my boss definitely knew I didn't give a fuck. So obviously I was putting on an aura of it, but
it's
I
energy,
didn't think
right?
I was. Yeah, I thought I was hiding it well, but no, it was pretty much.
You sound like me, my friend. I can't play poker worth a shit.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, okay, I know you're sitting on 2 aces. Oh, how do you know that? Because you got a big shit-eating grin on your face. Oh, great. Okay, right. Yeah.
So like, I'm doing comedy more so. I don't even care about work anymore because it's getting done. So eventually, after a year, I got fired, straight up. Let go, fired, whatever. And my boss pretty much said, "Hey, you want to be a comedian? I can see it." Like he knew where my heart was. Like he said it to me. He's like, "Your heart is not here anymore. It's somewhere else." And I think I needed that little bit of like a little something, right? Where it's like, oh, you know what? He's right. He's right. Yeah. He caught me. He caught me. You know what I'm saying? He caught me. So, I quit. I moved back to. Did I go back to Hamilton? No, I stayed in London for a little bit. That's right. Because I went back on EI. That's right. So I was like, bling, bling, time to go back on EI. But now I knew what to do with EI, right? So now I knew what to do. And I eventually just stayed in London for maybe a little bit. I was still with my girlfriend. But our relationship was starting to really stress.
Because you're going your way. You're going your way.
True. And it's a long distance relationship, and I'm definitely going on my own path now. And the relationship is just falling I'm going like this, and the relationship is going. I'm not even caring about the relationship. I'm still overweight. This is when I started to take the first step forward towards fitness. Actually, it was in London, Ontario. I'm like, maybe I can do something here. I'm feeling in a good place, a good mind frame. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of started wanting to take care of myself a little bit.
Right.
And then also, to be perfectly honest, I cheated on my girlfriend at this point in time too, because someone actually showed me an affection that I haven't ever had. That saw this body, this big, fat, dumpy body, found it attractive, and I haven't had sex in we'll say 10 years, right? At all, right? Just been living.
While you were with your girlfriend.
Yeah, it was a very celibate relationship after a while. So like it was going.
It sounds like a friendship, not a relationship. But anyways,
To be perfectly
I
honest,
digress. Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, it became more of a friendship.
Yeah.
Relationship. It really did.
Yeah.
It became more pen pals than an actual relationship. And that I know because I know I said like yes, I cheated on my girlfriend. I'll be honest, I wrote an email so many times of how to break up. Like I wanted to break up. Like I knew I was done before I even cheated on her. But I didn't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? I was a coward. Really. At that point in time,
Of course.
I was a coward because we've been together so long, didn't know what to do. So I was like, whatever, out of sight, out of mind.
And you're still living with that mask, with that guarded sense of self.
Exactly. There's still things going on, but it's chipping away, slowly chipping away.
Right.
You know? And so I did that. I cheated on her. I didn't feel bad about it. That was the horrible part. I didn't feel bad. And I was just like, okay, I know I'm done. I kind of knew the relationship is done at that point. Yeah. And but I didn't break up with her yet, right? So that didn't happen yet. So I moved back home because the money was done, and I got a part-time gig in Hamilton as a freelance designer for a game, another video game. And I was doing some other freelance work too, but I moved back home. And I was living in a basement apartment down on Queen Street in Hamilton. And this is where everything started to change. This was the spot.
Right.
This is like ground zero. The next level of change was right here because I moved home. And I remember I'm living in the basement I'm just living in the basement. And I woke up one day and I'm like, you know what? I hate this. Like, I just hate it. I don't like living in the basement. I don't like being underground. So then I just started going outside again. I actually would wake up at 6 o'clock. I would go for a walk and just start walking around. Every single morning, I would stop at a Tim Hortons, get a coffee or a tea or coffee, and just do my walk every single day. And then I actually started recording those walks. And that's where sometimes whenever you see me post something about saying, hey, what's up, weather walkers? That comes from when I was in Hamilton, Ontario, 2018, living in my basement, going for first morning walks on Instagram. I'd be like, hey, good morning, weather walkers. We're going out for a walk today. It's a beautiful day for a walk. And I would do that pretty much every single day. Rain, snow, whatever. I'd keep doing it because I was trying to get out of this loser mindset of being in the basement now, going, I'm not a loser. Because like usually people look at basement life as you're a loser. It's the bottom, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm not a loser.
Right.
Let's get out of this mindset. So I started going outside. I actually started watching nature videos on YouTube, specifically hiking and bushcrafting and camping videos. I would just watch them. And I remember, I think his name is Joe, I think it's Joe or Rob Ribonnet, and he does these bushcraft videos. And I just found it randomly. And I just started watching them. And it's just this guy who goes on to Queensland and starts cutting up wood and makes a lean-to and stays outside. And I was like watching it going, that's cool. Like it just hit me.
There's another really good one called My Self-Reliance, and he's
I do watch him.
Northern Ontario. That guy's unreal. So therapeutic. When the whole COVID shit was going on, I was just watching this. I was like, I think he's onto something here.
Yeah, I was watching him as well.
So you're watching these videos, yeah?
I'm watching these videos, and I'm living in the basement. I'm just watching them. I'm falling asleep to them because it's so calming. Like the sound is calming, the fire crackling and stuff like that. And it just started like as I'm walking, and I'm thinking about it, going, you know what? I can do this. That was like the first little nugget where I'm like, I can do this. And one of the things I did at the apartment, like at the house that I was living, because I lived in the basement, there was 2 people above me.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, can I start a garden? Like just in the backyard. So I started planting vegetables. I just made a vegetable garden. I was like, this is cool. Like we can do this, you know?
Yeah.
And then I haven't even started really hiking yet at all. I just was going out hiking the streets, just kind of like getting into this mindset of like, you know what, I can do this. Maybe I should start looking at camping equipment and things like that.
Now, where you live, is it like a concrete jungle? Like, is it all like Vancouver kind of? It's pretty urban. Yeah. So it's not exactly, when you say you're getting outdoors, it's not like you're going out into the forest.
No, no forest at all. Right. I'm just in the concrete jungle. Classic downtown Hamilton, walking the streets. So your typical downtown environment, right? Concrete streets, homeless people, the usual, right? And where I live too was near the train yard. So, you know, you could go by the train yard or by the pier, simple, usual stuff like that. So no forest yet. So I'm living there, and this is where the next the big shift happens here. I take mushrooms for the first time.
Oh, dude, mushrooms are amazing.
Yeah, never took them ever in my life, right?
Yeah.
I took them for the first time. I did 5 grams on my first time. And it was at my friend's birthday party who lived above me. And she was super cool because I would always talk to her about going outdoors and stuff like that. Like she knew, like we would always talk about these ideas and, you know, I want to live off the grid. Like I was starting to spout this like mantra of like, I'm leaving, screw this, you know,
out of here.
I'm out of here. I'm going to go.
Bret's lost his mind.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure people thought I lost my mind. I'm pretty sure. So then I did mushrooms, right? I tripped great, hard trip. Like life-altering trip, right?
Heroic dose.
Oh yeah, 5 grams. I'm gone. I come back like 8 hours later after tripping, and I just remember like the message that was coming to me was like I was just like, nature's all that matters. Was like the last kind of like thing that was coming to my mind. It's like that's it. And I remember one part of my trip where I tripped out, and there's a lot of I could go over this trip in great detail. That could be another episode.
Absolutely.
I have it written down somewhere. So like I tripped, and at the end of the trip, I remember I fell down into the ground, and I remember grabbing the earth and putting it over me as a blanket and just laying in the ground, just laying in it. And then my friend and another friend grabbed me and like pulled me up, and I was like pulling out of the earth. And then I went to my room and I puked everywhere. And then I just remember the wind hitting me, like the breeze. And I was just like, nature's the way, man. And that's all I kept thinking of. That's what just hit me there. I was just like, man, it's all about nature. You know? It's like,
hell yeah.
It was just this like weird revelation to me. I'm like, wow, nature's the way. And I just like, it stuck with me it still sticks with me, that whole thing. And then I was like, I remember I slept for like 3 days. I was gone, dude. I didn't come back out. And then when I came out of it, outside for the first time, it was like life was just different. It was just weird, you know. Like
you had this complete paradigm shift.
Oh, totally. Like this was Bret this way. Boom! All the masks are gone. You know? Right. It's just like
ego. It killed your ego. It killed your ego.
Yeah, man. Everything just shattered into billions of pieces, and I'm like, okay, now I guess I can pick up what I want, the pieces that I want, you know. And I did. So at this point in time, I was running out of money again. Yeah, because the gig I was working on was starting to wind down. I only had so many thousands of dollars left because I was just doing freelance, so I wasn't making tons. I was also dipping in some EI a little bit too, so I was like making a couple little illegally moves, but whatever. Got a hustle.
Secret safe with us.
Yeah. I don't care. And so like I remember applying for another job. I was like, I gotta get it. Work has always been this like weird thing in my life where it's like I gotta get a job. You know.
This is what I have to do, not what I want to do. Yeah.
Yes. So before I started looking for a job, I tripped, I recovered, and I remembered I have to start making some changes. So I actually sat down with my girlfriend. And I went over, like I went deep on it. I was like, this is what I want. This is what I want. And this is what I want. Like the changes that I want, like I still want you. Like I still want her. And she walked out on me. Literally, she just left. Poof. Yeah. No goodbyes, no nothing. Just walked out. Walked out the door. And like I live in the basement. So the last imagery is like I could see her feet walking across the window, right? Leaving. I just remember just sitting there going, okay, that's what it is then. You know, like we just literally threw away
now
like 15 years. Yeah, but I was with her for like 15 years at that time. So it was just like, okay, so because I thought, so here's how I looked at it. It was like, I thought I wanted marriage. I thought I wanted kids. I wanted a house. Like I thought I wanted these things. And then I just talked to her about it, and she didn't want any of these things at all. I was like, well, I think I want these things. I'm changing over here. You know, everything's changing.
Right.
And then she left. So I was like, okay, cool. We're done. Like, that's it. That was that. I haven't talked to her.
So you got to get these changes for yourself.
Yeah. Now it's me.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So now it becomes me. And then I applied for a new job, and the new job was in Vancouver. Yeah. So
my neck of the woods.
Your neck of the woods, man. And I actually got the job. So I was like sitting there, I was like, I remember talking to my neighbor, and she was like, "Do you want this? Like, do you really?" Because she knows I'm on a different level now. She knows I'm. She knew I was not ready for going to the game industry anymore. She knew it, and she was right. If I ever got to sit down and talk to her about that, I'd be like, "You were correct, 100%. I should not have left." But at the same time, I also was probably right for leaving because another change happened, right? So I said yes, I'm going to go do it. I signed all the paperwork, and then I got rid of all my stuff, all the stuff that I ever owned in my life, all the material aspects, everything I ever owned and to be honest, I've lugged this stuff around with me from Ottawa, Hamilton, London,
Yeah.
back to Hamilton. So it's been on the back, like this big weight of all my personal belongings on my shoulders, just carrying it along with me. And then I'm moving to Vancouver. I'm getting rid of everything because I'm not shipping it. I'm not doing that. So I got rid of it all. Literally, I gave it all away. I didn't even sell it. I gave my entire video game collection.
Everything must go.
Yeah, I gave my entire video game collection to my best friend because he has a collection. I'm like, here, have it. And then I gave away all my statues and toys and comic books and nerd stuff to my other friend. I'm like, here, have it. I took all the other possessions that you need in life, gave it to Valley Village, and then I pretty much left. Dropped my cat off at my friend's house. And I did bring my cat with me. Don't worry, the cat came to Vancouver eventually. But then all I did was I left and I moved to Vancouver for a bit. Not long, let me tell you. Not long. So, yeah, man, I'm in Vancouver. I'm living on Barclay Avenue, which is I would say it's only 5-10 minutes away from so I guess where I was living was 2 minutes away from the shopping district of Vancouver. So I guess that's Robinson, I think it is. I can't remember. And then from down, I was very close to the pier, 10 minutes away from the pier, 10 minutes from Stanley Park. I was in the core. I spent the money,
Yes. Yeah.
I spent the money.
Bougie.
So I'm at work now. And so I'm at work. I literally give no fucks. I don't know why I'm there. To be honest, I don't care. I'm not here. My mind is not I'm doing the work. I don't care. I'm literally.
What am I doing this for? I have nothing.
Yeah. So my apartment. So I was living at one of my best friend's house because he lived there. So I had a place to stay. I got set up in Vancouver. I'm working, but I'm not caring, and I'm drinking. I'm coming into work, literally eating some gelato and just chilling. I'm just walking through the hallways, just eating gelato, and I'm sitting down at my desk, whatever, dog, I got this, and just working away.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy, and no one liked that guy because I don't give a fuck. That's the thing. You can't control me anymore. That's the thing. Yeah. Money doesn't care. Possessions don't care. Nothing. You can't.
I'm on my time. I'm on my time, and I'm free.
Yeah, and that, to be honest, once I got to that, Vancouver is where that happened. I finally, it all came together. When I got off that plane, I just was I don't care. I'm free.
Well, I think too that security or whatever whatever that is, security is the new form of slavery. I mean, you know what mortgage means in Latin?
What?
Death grip.
Oh, really?
You Google that. I mean, don't take my word for it, but it means death grip.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, because it's got a fucking hold on you for 25 years.
Mm-hmm. Or more now, right?
Yeah. Well, anybody who can afford a place, that is.
Yeah,
right?
No.
So
nope.
You go to Vancouver, you realize this is it. Now, and I am just looking at the time here because I got to run and be a dad, but this is such a good story. Mm-hmm. So how do you get to where you are now?
So okay, so Vancouver didn't work because clearly I'm in Hamilton.
Right.
I got fired. I got fired.
How long were you there for?
I didn't make it to probation. I was there for 2 months. They let me stay for the next month. So I was in Vancouver for 3 whole months. I did not make my probation period because I rubbed them all the wrong way. You can't control me. I'm the wolf in the hen's house. Yeah.
I'm feral. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. That's the thing. When they knew they couldn't control me, I was done there. Because
that's what corporate life is. They have to control you. If they can't control you, well, you can't serve their purpose.
Exactly. And you can't get me with money because I don't need it. That's the thing. I'm debt free. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't control me is the thing. And that was the problem, because I'm showing up with gelatos. I'm showing up with Big Macs. I don't care. I'm doing what I want to do on your time. Like, yeah, you're paying me to be here. This is your time. I'm going to crush the work. Don't get it wrong. I got all the work done. But that's on my time too now. Like, their time is my time. So I'm like, I'll do what I want as long as my work's getting done. And they can't threaten me by taking money away from me. And they can't hype me up by giving me more money. Like, hey, if you do a good job, we'll give you more money. Because I'm like, hey, you know what? I came here on the cheap. Like, I didn't come here for the money, you know? So they don't have me anymore. But that's why they got rid of me. To be perfectly honest, they couldn't control me. I was just doing what I wanted. So, but my work got done. They could not fire me because of my work. That was the hardest part for them. They could not get rid of me because of my work.
That's like me, man. I at my work, I don't give a shit about the politics. I love my job, just for the record, because I work with kids and I work with families, and I help them to empower. Well, I don't even say I help them. Together, we find ways that they can empower themselves. Or I just listen. You know how fucking awesome that is? I just listen to kids talk and they love it. They're like, this is great. An adult that's actually listening to me. It's like, wow.
Sometimes that's all people need is just someone to listen to.
Exactly. You know? It's great for me too. You know? And okay, so sorry, go ahead.
I actually like living in Vancouver, beautiful place. I did a lot of walking. I actually started like going hiking more there too. Like, hiking started becoming a thing. Like, it just was something that was happening. And then, to be honest, I lost my job. I moved back home. Like, I took what I could money wise, and then moved back home. And I actually had to move in with my dad because I had nothing. Like, I had not enough to get a place and all that jazz. Right. So I moved home back with my dad. I'm like, okay, this is my life right now. I bought a car. And that was like my biggest acquisition, was like, I bought a car. Now the world is open to me. You know? So after buying a car, I just was like, I got a cheap job doing I was doing freelance work as an artist for a makeup company because I just needed to make some money. Right. And I'm like, okay, this is life now. So I just started literally doing that. And I was on EI for a little bit because I had what I got in BC. So I was able to get on some EI. So I was just kind of like doing a little bit, starting to drive. And then I was like, May 28, I guess, whenever, sometime in May, I guess COVID hit. Actually, geez, yeah, that's right. Then COVID hit. The world changed. And I remember I wasn't even hiking yet. And COVID hit. And I just remember the government here, particularly, was like, yeah, you can't go outside. Right. I was like, huh? I can't go outside. You can't tell me not to go outside.
Tell me what not to do, and I will do it.
Yeah, literally. So they're like, you can't go outside. I was like, no, there's no way you tell me I can't go outside. And also at this point in time too, I was looking for like, okay, so one other thing that happened in Vancouver while I was there actually was I knew I was done with video games and I knew I wanted to work outside. I actually wanted to go outside and be working with my hands again. So my mentality of switching from being in the corporate world, going back to working outside and working with my hands to be work for myself in a sense, that happened in Vancouver. Because I remember sitting there at my desk just going, I don't want to be in here anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
why am I inside when I can be outside?
Exactly. And that was like a big point for Vancouver
Vancouver's
too.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, Vancouver is beautiful. It really is. And so that was like another turning point where it's like, I don't want to be inside anymore. So that also happened when I was back in Hamilton. I was like, I remember, again, I made a list. I'm telling everybody, make lists. When you want to do changes in your life, make a list so you can kind of like, I guess it's manifesting in some form, right? You're manifesting it. So you write down the list and you start
writing. You have to write. And I'm such a procrastinator. I avoid writing because there's a fear that by writing it will happen. Do you know what I mean?
It does happen because it's always happened for me. So then again, I wrote down, what can I do to be outside? And I was like, oh, construction work. I used to do construction work, but at this point in time too, I'm 450 pounds, like maybe 420. I'm not losing weight or anything, but I'm a big dude. I'm like, I can't go on ladders. Like, there's no way I can't do that work. Right. So I thought to myself, well, what else can I do? And I was like, oh, I can cut grass. I could be a landscaper. Like, that was my mentality of just like,
right.
Oh, I can push a lawnmower. And then if I'm doing that, I can lose weight. So my whole idea was I'll just go outside. I'll work with my body. I'll do landscaping. I'll lose weight and I'll get better shape. And like that was like the whole snowball effect. So I remember applying to tons of landscaping jobs. I had lots of interviews, but here I am, a video game designer, a guy who hasn't worked with his hand. No one wants this guy.
What the hell? Why do you want to do this? Dude, on your resume, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I remember just going through tons of them. No one hired me. And then my final guy where I work with today, I just remember sitting down with him and being like, hey dog, this is what I want.
Real
like just like I got super real with him. I was like, this is what I want. You hire me, I'm gonna be your best employer. I'll be there. Do not worry. I might die because I'm overweight, but don't worry, I'm going to do the work, you know? And he liked me, and boom, I got the job. COVID hits. I'm like, you can't go outside. Screw you. So I'm outside every day. And I'm to be honest, I'm outside because I'm trying to train my body to walk, to get ready to be a landscaper, you know?
You're training, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing my own Rocky montages out there, trying to get ready to be a landscaper because I'm this big fat dude. I'm like, okay, well, this is the commitment, you know? And then, so like, I get started working and I'm dying at work. And then I'm like, you know what? I have my car. Let's go for a hike. Like, let's just do it. Let's go, you know? And I did. I went for my first hike alone. And I was like, this is cool, you know? And then I told someone at work, I'm like, hey, I went for a hike this week. And they're like, oh, I like hiking. Do you want to go? Like, do you want to go with me? And I was like, sure, I'll go with you. And she's like, yeah, I'll bring my boyfriend. And I'm like, cool, let's do that. So then the next week I got a hike in. And I was like, this is cool. Like, it was a good hike. And then I don't even think I think I posted it on Instagram at that time, like my first one, like about going for a hike. And then someone messaged me, like, hey, can I go for a hike? And I was like, yeah,
some
sure.
random person.
No, like a friend, another friend, like a friend.
Like
a friend from comedy.
Yeah.
Was like, hey, can I go for a hike? I like hiking. And I was like, okay, sure, let's go for a hike. And then I went for another hike. And then, you know, one thing led to another. It's another hike and another hike. And some of these I'd never documented. I was just going. Like, I just started going every Saturday. It just started snowballing, and me going out for a hike. I might put an Instagram story up here and there, like, here, this is where I am today, you know, or this week, right? And it just like snowballed to a point where another friend of mine was like, hey, can I go hiking with you? And I was like, yeah, you know, like that's just how it started. And then Marissa, who's been on like most of the hikes with me, she just joined me, and we just keep going hiking every Saturday. That was kind of our thing. I was like, let's just go, you know, we'll get gas and just let's go see places. Like, let's go travel around Ontario. Let's go see cool, new, exciting stuff. Right. And like explore. That's kind of what happened. It was just like, we'll go wherever we want. We'll go
get out of your head and into your car.
Exactly.
That's a Billy Ocean song, another Yacht Rock track.
It always goes back. No. But that is exactly what happened. Was like, literally, I started working outside, I started hiking, and then I just started talking about it. And I was like, I wanted to kind of inspire other people to just go outside, because we're in this era of don't go outside. So I'm like, no, screw you. I'm going outside, and I'm telling everybody else to go outside too. So it was like this like kind of counter activist kind of thing. Like, I'm an activist for the outdoors, you know, like get out there and do it. But it's just, that's the whole snowball of all these like events. All of this added up to this point where I am now, where I truly feel at my freest.
So, I mean, like, what an awesome story, because that was like a whoosh. And the whole point is like, we have to get out of ourselves to get back to ourselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in your journey, and just finishing up, because I have to go take care of my daughter. But what's the biggest takeaway for people that they can get from your story? Because I have quite a few takeaways, but what's your message to listeners?
I think the main thing is like, don't give up on yourself. You know, like when you're down at the bottom, like at rock bottom, or even low, when you feel you're not at yourself, like when you feel low, it's like, don't give up on yourself, because you can always push yourself to get out of the situation onto a better situation, because you're always working on yourself. So like, that's part of it. Don't give up on yourself. Don't stop working on yourself. Just keep pushing yourself forward to get to where you want to get to. Yeah. And that might be the place that you think you need to be at that point in time, or it might be somewhere else, because like everyone has their own different drive of what they're trying to succeed at. Because I'm not going to tell you anyone right now, be like, hey, you know what, quit your corporate job, get outside and have fun, right? Because that's not for everybody. But exactly. Like people might see this and go, you know what, I don't want to be in the corporate life. I see what Bret did. Like he changed it up. He's outdoors, and that's that person. But there's those people that will also be like, you know what, I like the corporate grind. I get it, but that's your journey. Right. So it's like, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your journey, but like also, evolve with things, like work on yourself, figure yourself out, try to, elevate yourself, be positive, bring other because when you are your genuine self, you seem to attract other genuine people around you. Like other people just want that, you'll attract that,
I think the biggest thing for me is that we distract ourselves all the time, boom, 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 all these distractions. Mm-hmm. I'll speak for myself. I do it. But when you sit and you're quiet, you meditate or whatever, that's when you realize you're like, oh, which is very terrifying, by the way. You have to sit with yourself.
Yeah. And
that's when it comes into perspective of what you want.
It's true. Yeah. And that's true. Like every pivotal point in my life that I had to sit there and seriously be alone with myself and my thoughts and try to figure it out. Those are like the scariest points. Right. But don't get scared of it. Like embrace it. Like you have to be there. Sometimes it's going to be low and dark, but you have to be there. You're there for a reason. At that point in time, you were there for a reason. And
the truth is not comfortable. The truth is not comfortable.
And you have to be ready. You have to be ready to deal with that. You have to be ready for that, because you might put yourself in this situation. You're not ready to receive that information yet, but you'll be there again. And you'll be like, oh, am I ready now to deal with this? Like it'll keep coming back. It'll keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like if you think you could just put it to the box to the left and it's gone, it's not. It's going to come back. It might come back in 5 years. It might come back 10 years, but it always comes back until you deal with it.
Lessons. Somebody said something along the lines of lessons keep repeating themselves until they're learned.
Yeah, that's true.
Lessons keep repeating themselves until they are learned, and you're like, oh yeah. So Bret. Unfortunately, I have to go because I got to go take care of my kid. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for being our first live stream.
I hope I didn't bore anyone.
Oh, you didn't bore me. and that's who you're talking to. And I like I said, people love. Some people love listening to conversations. Other people like the informative things or whatever. Yeah. But other people, they enjoy hearing a story. And you have a story to tell. Thank you for telling it.
Thank you for having me, man.
Are you still doing the stand-up?
Well, when COVID is over, yes, I'll be doing stand-up again.
You tell me about that because I want to do it. I want to get into stand-up a little bit just because I'm a philosopher by nature, but I don't think I'm particularly like a punchline person. I always fuck up punchlines, but I am an introspective person, and I can see that you are too. So. Bret, thank you so much.
You should do slam poetry.
I love it. Try everything, man. All right.
Try everything.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.